Hello everybody, welcome to DRL TV. I'm your host, James Pandoff. With me tonight, special guests Ben Izenga and Taylor Butcher Benjamin. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing great, James. This is going to be one exciting race as we're here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, this slick mile-and-a-half racetrack. Uh, Tires are going to get eaten up in a hurry, and as we all know, like in real life, this track is known for fantastic finishes, and Jeremy Hebel the last 2 years has been the man on top of he's won the last two, and 2 years ago, he passed Eric Johnson on the last lap to win, and last year he ended up in a photo finish with Tristan Anderson. So perhaps we'll have a somewhat similar outcome tonight.
Absolutely. About 3 minutes left to go in qualifying. Currently watching David Lindahl in the 88. He's had a heck of a start to the season. He's currently third on the board with a 30.913. Justin Eicher currently the quickest. Through practice, Ben Izenga, what have you noticed? Who have you kept your eye on?
Well, I've seen a couple of these guys at the top of the board. One to really keep your eye on is Austin Collins. He was on the top of the board for most of the practice session, but he's run some really solid times. Looks like he's being pretty gentle to his tires, which is important here, really abrasive racetrack. And he's just doing a really good job, smooth job, keeping it on the bottom of the track. That's what I like to see at this.
Yep, as we're on board with Austin Collins, he just took the pole for the meantime with a 30.770. Just under halfway left to go in qualifying. His teammate Jarrett Rogers currently second, 0.02 of a second behind him.
Yeah, Collins definitely knows how to get around these mile-and-a-half tracks. Won the pole and the race at Charlotte last season, but Brent Kincott just upended him for the pole.
Ben Kincott.
He's off to a tough start to the season. I believe 26th in points. He definitely needs a big night tonight.
Yeah, he's had some good up to the midpoint in all four of the races. He's been running top 10. He's just been caught up in a lot of late incidences. Currently second now is Richard Springer in the 21. Has now surpassed him for the pole. Richard Springer, definitely a driver to keep an eye on tonight. He's already have one win this season. Will he be able to make it two?
Of course, he's last year's champion, and his dysfunctional Patriot Racing teammate Adam Purcell has actually tied him.
Yeah, look at that. Exactly. 30.749 for each of the two drivers. Rod Fosnar currently on the track. He joined us in the Grand National Series broadcast last night, and looking forward to tonight, see what kind of performance he can have. I know last night he told me he was a little nervous about it, so we'll see if those nerves have calmed any as we go racing for 82 laps.
It's amazing, both last night and so far again tonight, just how close these guys are in their qualifying times.
Yeah,
so far the top 19 are within a tenth of each other.
And the top three are within 1,000th of a second. Make that the top four, actually, as Dakota Wilkins also ran a 30.750. Same with Brad Kincott.
Jeremy Hebel's going to go for the three-peat. He's got some work to do, because right now he's going to be starting 13th. And it looks like Richard Springer is going to be our pole sitter for tonight's event. Before we go green, see if I can grab our champ and bring him in here real quick. Hey, Richard Springer, it's the booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Well, how about you and Adam there on the tying each other on time?
Yeah, it's something.
Well, it looked like you found in the second half of the practice session. It looked like you found something. What's it going to take tonight to get your second win of the season?
Well, if we have a long run, he's going to have to take care of that right front. I mean, it grinds off pretty bad. These things are as tight, not as bad as the Xfinity cars last night, but they're pretty damn tight. So I'll probably just try to get try to lead a lap, and now Daniel Hall always give me a hard time. So I'm going to try to give a try to lead a lap and then let those clowns go by. I can run the high line and save tires a little bit, I think. So I'm going to try that for a while, maybe 10 or 12 laps. So we'll see what happens from there.
Well, a lot of you guys are in the same boat as far as what you guys have planned to do. So we'll let you get to it, and good luck tonight.
Thank you, man. Have a good broadcast.
Yep, thanks.
As you take a run down through the starting grid, Austin Collins starting in the 8th position. Rounding out the top 10 is Cody Gatsky and Jarrett Rogers. Dustin Eicher will start 11th alongside him, David Wright in the 42 truck. Jeremy Hebel 13th. Taylor, you mentioned a 2-time winner here at Atlanta. He's going to have work to do. Cody Barber starting 16th.
There's Robbie Armstrong, our champion from 2 years ago, starting in 20th. Of course, finally picked up that long, elusive first win in this series at Martinsville last year.
Yeah, glad to see him back on track. I know his life's been a little busy. Glad to see him joining us tonight at Atlanta. And I'm still just amazed at how the top 4 drivers in qualifying are separated by 1/1000th of a second.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And of course, we gotta still keep Robbie in our thoughts, as just recently lost his father about a month ago, and definitely thinking about him.
As the pace car is off, we're heading down to the backstretch. Richard Springer is going to lead him to the line for the first time tonight. Another
Go ahead.
Another great field size tonight at Atlanta. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I was down there in the DPR chat before we went on the air, and they said they could go about 47 laps on fuel if necessary. So there definitely is a one-stopper, so I would expect these guys to maybe cut it in half.
Something a little special about Atlanta, though, is even if you can make it on fuel, do you really want to cut it that far on tires? I know myself and you, Taylor, we both tried to split it into 2 stops last night, just because of how bad our tires were. So I'm interested to see who's willing to kind of try to play the strategy game a little bit here, and who's just willing to rely on their speed.
Pace car is off. Richard Springer going to bring him to the green. A great restart there for Richard Springer. He's going to be able to clear 2nd place. Adam Purcell, top 3 single filed out. We go to Brent Kincott. He's side by side battling out for 4th.
That's something we're going to have to keep an eye on all night if we get more restarts, is because these guys it's tough to keep your cars under control even on the restarts, especially if you're starting on that outside lane like Adam Purcell did.
Still neck and neck as they go down through 3 and 4. Brent Kincott, Adam Perry in that 29 truck. Looks like Kincott's going to have that advantage across the start-finish line.
Richard Springer leads lap number 1, and kind of looks like, as he suggested, just wanted to get that lap led, and now here comes his teammate Purcell. I'll let the youngsters set the pace.
Down into 3, he should be able to clear him as they come off of turn 4, but the battle is behind him. 4 cars now involved for 3rd.
Looks like a little blinking issue there for Brett Kincott's
We
truck.
might be 3 wide at the line. Very close with Dakota Wilkins on that very high line. We're 3 wide, contact.
And Ferree gets turned, trying to hang on to it. The field stacks up and they keep it straight.
I think we're going to stay green.
A great job by Adam Ferree, and that almost was kind of reminiscent of last year in this race.
Let's see if we can see that one more time. Ronnie Outlaw in the 51 just gives him a little tap. Ferree doing a great job wheeling that thing, keeping it straight.
That separated the top 4 from the rest of the field. And this is definitely playing into the benefit of Springer, knowing that he has the big gap behind him and he can stick to his plan. I wanted to just kind of ride around and take care of that right front tire.
It did indeed. About the top 8 all separated, and then we got that big mess of cars led by the 29 of Ferree, David Wright in the 42, Daniel Holloway and Tanner Sinea side by side right behind them.
Looks like Adam Breeden has succumbed to a throughput issue.
And just like we saw a couple of weeks ago at California, I'm a little bit concerned about these guys running too wide earlier in these runs. Because these tires, this track's really abrasive on these tires, and we saw a couple guys a couple weeks ago really struggle later in these runs because they were stuck running side by side early on.
Yeah, that's kind of what Springer's point was, is he didn't really he wanted to race the track more than he wanted to race the competition, at least in the early laps.
I think that's a really important thing to remember, especially in these trucks, since they're so competitive. They're lower in horsepower, they're really impacted by aerodynamics. You just kind of have to remember that you need to worry about your tires, worry about keeping your stuff all together for later in the run.
Oh, contact there with the 51. Great save there with Ronnie Outlaw making a little contact with the outside wall, but he seems to be all right.
Well, it's an absolute madhouse back here. About 10th on back. Jeremy Hebel's right in the middle of this group.
51 seems to be really dropping back through that pack, too.
Yeah, just like you mentioned, qualifying, all of these guys were within about a tenth of each other in like the first 20 positions. These guys really close on speed. We're going to really have to wait until these tires start to wear out to see who has what it takes to possibly win here tonight. Purcell leading Brent Kincott by about 0.2 of a second, as they have really gapped the field almost a full straightaway back to third.
And Ronnie Outlaw continues to descend through the field, and his right front has picked up quite a bit of damage.
Adam Breeden has returned to the track a few laps down.
Actually, yeah, about 7 laps down, so definitely a tough break. But how about the top two? The separation they put between them and the rest of the field.
And there goes Brent Kincott. He wants a piece of that lead.
What's got to be going through Adam Purcell's mind right now? I'm sure he and Richard Springer are down there in the same Discord channel. Maybe Richard's trying to talk him into just letting Brent go for a little bit.
Yeah, with this big of a gap, they don't need to race each other hard and ruin both the tires. They might as well take advantage.
Oh, gosh!
Ooh.
Purcell into the inside wall. Now, that's
He's
the
gonna
last
save
thing
it
that needs
from
to
there.
happen.
Let's see if we can see that one more time. On board with Adam Purcell in the 58, out race leader at the time.
I think just shoved up the racetrack on corner exit, and Brent Kincott very lucky not to sideswipe him.
Yeah, he's lucky not to have any damage from that. He's just got to make sure that he keeps his stuff together now. He's got a very sizable lead over Richard Springer and the rest of the field.
And Purcell is down on pitch to repair his vehicle. But yeah, you're right. The 58 just shot right up into the outside wall, and then the 4 was right there to kind of help him into the wall, pancake him a little bit. Very unfortunate. But now it's Brent Kincott with a 2.5 second lead over second place Richard Springer.
This is definitely what the doctor ordered for Brent Kincott, as he blinks a little bit right there. He's had a really tough start to the season. 26th in points, not a single top 10, and like you mentioned, JP, I mean, it's not like he's been running poorly. I mean, he's been caught up in some unfortunate stuff towards the end of the races that didn't allow him to get the finish that maybe he deserved, but he's definitely looking to put the full race together tonight, and a win tonight for Brent would be absolutely phenomenal for him. The gap is shrinking between he and Richard Springer, but perhaps as Springer just took 0.4 of a second out of that lead, perhaps Brent's backing it down a little bit just to preserve his equipment.
Yeah, you can even see in the lines he's running, you can see off 2, you can see through 3 and 4, he's just kind of running a little bit higher on the track, maybe trying to save some of that tire for later in the run. Maybe just trying to let these other guys catch up to him so that he can kind of gauge what he has left once they get to.
And Springer saw him down there on the white line in 3 and 4 that time, and he's making a bit of a late apex. 1 and 2 there. Adam Purcell is back on the racetrack. Actually, race leader's about to put him a 3rd lap down as we see him down there on the apron. Alex, he's actually coming back in. Well, he's got to be one disappointed young man, I must say.
He's got a lot of damage on the left front and the rear corners of that truck. He's dropping back into his box, fix more of the damage.
Battle here, 5th and 6th between Holloway and Ferree.
Yeah, Ferree doing a great job battling back after getting hit sideways down into turns 1 and 2 a little bit earlier in this green flag run we are having. As Jeremy Hebel, he's making his presence felt up to 7th after starting in mid-pack.
Oh, contact again with Ferree. He and Jared Rogers door slamming each other, entering turn 3, and Ferree ends up way up the racetrack.
Almost looked like Ferree just didn't even know he was down there.
And the way he turned into the corner, looks like they're discussing it there on the driver's channel. Hopefully they can sort everything out. But Ferree must feel like a pinball these first few laps.
Do you think Brent Kincart's taking it really easy, or you think he might have used up his tires, as the whole group of cars are really catching him over a 2.5 gains on the race leader?
And we can see Richard Springer really breaking it off from Dakota Wilkins in 3rd. So it might be a mixture of Brett kind of taking it easy and Richard Springer just really trying to get a feel for this truck and really starting to catch his pace.
Well, we know Richard definitely is one of the better long-run drivers in this series. I guess the telltale sign will be if Springer does eventually get by Kincott, and whether Brent will be able to hang with him or if he keeps dropping back. They kind of reverse lines that time. Brent to the bottom, Springer another late apex. Oh, he gained a ton that time, did Springer.
There's a lot of speed down the front stretch.
He's going to have a peek at him off of turn 4.
Terrence Sine might have gotten the wall back there. Running about 10th place, but here comes Springer trying to reassume the lead.
I think he'll have him coming off of turn 2. He might be able to clear him here. Looks like he will.
That's a spot on the racetrack that really scares me for that outside truck, because it's really easy to lose the right front of that truck when you're in the middle of 2 and 3, or 1 and 2.
Well,
and
just
you
like
can
we
really
saw with
easily
Purcell.
slide up that wall.
Daniel Holloway about to take 3rd away from Wilkins. It looks like Holloway has a little bit of right rear damage. Taking a better look at that. On the 26 truck of Daniel Holloway, you see that right side is pushed in a little bit. On board with Jeremy Hebel in the 1 truck.
And Hebel's running a little bit of a different line through that corner. I noticed just now he's running kind of between where Holloway and Wilkins. Not sure if that's just for the clean air or if that's where he wants to be.
Yeah, in practice he was running the middle more than a lot of these other guys were. And to answer your question about Daniel Holloway, he got that right rear damage when he and Ronnie Outlaw got together off turn 4. And damage didn't appear right away, as we see. I think that's William Wingfield coming to pit road.
There's the 82 of Jared Gordon. He's a lap down. He's passing Daniel Holloway on those fresher tires. And Springer has about a half-second lead now over the Ford truck of Brent Kincott.
So I think you were right, Ben, as far as it being a little bit of both. As far as Springer doing a better job conserving his tires and Brent just trying to take it easy and get a good finish.
Yeah, it would have really concerned me if Kincott just kind of dropped like a rock after he lost the lead, but he's keeping up with Springer a little bit. He's not fallen out of a second yet. He's kind of maintaining that 6/10 gap, so that's actually looking pretty good for him. If he can maintain right there, it's going to look pretty good for the... It also would appear that Springer is walking away from the entire field.
Because Kincott, he's still keeping the gap between he and Holloway about the same.
Springer gapped them by about 2/10 at that time by. And if guys are trying to two-stop it, this is about the time they're going to pit for. So I'm interested to see if maybe guys further back in the field are going to try to take advantage of that.
Steven Sims gets around Adam Faree for the 10th position. As it looks like a little bit of cloud coverage is coming down on the racetrack.
The track right now is at 105 degrees, and in practice it varied between 104 and 109, so these guys have definitely got some experience on what the track's going to do. So far, I don't see anybody ducking off the pit road to do the two-stop strategy.
Yeah, these guys just might be confident in their tires, confident in their trucks enough that they can run all the way to halfway.
Bobby Armstrong has been on pit lane for an extensive amount of time, 80 seconds and counting. See if we can take a closer look at his machine.
Well, looks like I don't see any damage. He might have actually gotten an unsafe pit entrance.
David Wright getting by Austin Collins. Austin Collins had a lot of trouble there too that time. He'll lose the spot to Jarrett Rudd.
Yeah, his teammate Jarrett Rudd is taking that position away from him. As it looks like Brent Kincott is under fire from the 26th of Daniel Holloway. That'll be for the second position.
Well, Dakota Wilkins has dropped back because he was running, I think, third when he was right behind Springer when Kincott had that big advantage, and now he's dropped back through 8th.
And Abel continues to walk up through the field. A little bit of contact between Hebel and Kincott off 4.
Oh, almost again right there.
Yeah, Brent Kincott gonna lose 3 positions.
Oh, he's gonna hit the wall, and Hebel's gonna hit the wall.
Hebel's
Oh,
in the wall.
Austin Collins.
Kincott. And there goes the fastest truck in practice, Austin Collins, into the inside wall. We're gonna stay green, however. Very similar to what happened to Adam Purcell and Brent Kincott early in the race. Although Kincott
Hebel's
was...
got some right front damage. That's really unfortunate for Jeremy Hebel. He was having a great run. He was really doing well coming up through the...
Yeah, you're going to take a closer look at that right front damage you see there. Should be repairable, but how much will those aerodynamics be affected?
I see a big crack in the right behind the right front tire, and the whole right side kind of scraped up, so...
Yeah, it's definitely repairable. It's just, at this track with these trucks, these aerodynamics are so important, and it's just it's hard to fix enough to get your truck back to 100.
Richard Springer, after running Brent Kincott down, he is setting sail from this field. He's now up to a 2.5 second lead over his teammate actually 2 teammates, Holloway and David Wright. So 3 dysfunctional Patriot trucks, 1, 2, 3.
Jeremy Hebel is down on pit lane, so is the 31 of Patrick Cowgill.
I haven't really talked about Patrick at all this race. He comes into this race only 1 point out of the points lead. Of course, had that great runner-up finish in the season opener at Daytona.
As he's taking 4 tires and fuel. About to reach the halfway point here at Atlanta for the Dynasty Racing League Truck Series. No cautions as of yet. Have had a few incidences, but nothing caution worthy at this moment.
On change for second place, David Wright has gotten around Daniel Holloway.
David Wright's another guy marching up through this field. He wasn't super fast in practice or qualifying, but he's doing great here tonight in the race. Qualified 14th. He's up.
Yeah, both he and Holloway started outside the top 10, and here they are in podium position.
Steven Sims, another guy we haven't really talked about tonight. He's up at 5th, starting 15th. He wasn't all that fast in practice either, so it's interesting to see these guys starting outside the top 10, kind of starting to march through this field.
Of course, he's the lone soldier there in the Bad Boys Racing as Holloway has moved over to DPR, and Jeffrey Meyer is taking the step to the Grand National League this season. Behind him, William Wingfield, he's on fresher tires, and he goes by Dakota Wilkins.
Yeah, green flag stops are happening. Terrence Renee, Hayden Ashby, down on pit lane, David Lindahl. And this is short of halfway. I'm not sure how many laps exactly these trucks can go on fuel, if they're going to be able to make it on this one stop, or if these people are thinking of doing a 2-stop race.
Well, if they were going to do a 2-stopper, they would have stopped about lap 27 or so, because that would have split it right in thirds. But I think they've ran enough that they could make it on fuel from here.
This is kind of an awkward point because this is about 3 or 4 laps short pitting, which is a pretty solid margin. So if any of these guys don't catch a caution, then they're going to have a pretty solid advantage. But if they do catch a caution, it's going to screw over a pretty good number of pretty fast trucks.
Well, these guys have got to really be careful, those on the new tires, because closing right here between a truck with fresh tires and one with really old tires, it's huge, and they got to really be careful. David Wright is on pit road from second place.
And he's one of the first front runners to take a gamble at short pitting as we approach halfway.
See if Richard Springer decides to pit this time. I think he's going to go one more lap, be officially at the halfway point.
All the way bringing it down.
Now with everybody pitting before Richard Springer, this is going to really close the gap once everybody cycles through on these green flag pit stops. Richard Springer's lead is going to be shrunk a little bit.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how long he stays out there. If you recall how he won the championship last year, he won with the
looks
short
like
pitting
he's coming down
strategy at
now.
Homestead.
The
Yep,
21,
here he comes.
Richard Springer down on pit lane.
Split it right in half.
Jarrett
Here comes
Rogers
Steven
will
Sims.
stay out. New leader, Jarrett Rogers at the line.
And those couple laps
Oh,
with Germany.
got someone. Ted Emmenheiser misses pit road through the grass, so he's going to more than likely have an unsafe pit entrance. Oh, a big development here is Dakota Wilkins has been throughputed. Wow, that's a tough break for our points leader.
Jay Ryder stays out another lap. As you see, Richard Springer is exiting the pit lane.
Cody
Cody
Barber in
Barber's-
second. He was running pretty well. He started 16th. I think he was up to 5th or 6th before that pit cycle. So he's another one taking a gamble, hitting late.
Well, just look at his teammate David Wright blow by him right there on fresh tires, and in fact, that probably be a battle for the lead right in front of him there. David Wright's basically erased that gap that Springer put on him by short pitting just that 1 or 2 laps early.
Yeah, 2 laps earlier, and you can see
So Rogers is in. That'll give the
And
lead
you
to
can see
Barber. Oh, Barber up into the wall, trying to not get run over.
You can see those couple laps fresher tires on Springer's truck. He's gapping David right over.
Hey, even just that 1 lap harder that Wright has already run his truck.
yeah, this is the battle for the lead. Rod Fosner on the 10 truck, also yet to pit. He's right behind the 28 of Cody Barber.
Same with Dustin Jones and Marvin Wingfield.
Looks like
Barber is going to pit this time.
Ace.
that'll give the lead to the 10 truck.
Boy, he's coming on pit road really, really slow. So
He had a bit of a close, bit of a moment coming off turn 2 that time. He was pretty close to the wall after getting past.
I would just want to be a little conservative. Make sure he doesn't make any mistakes entering. So Rod Fosdahl, Marvin Wingfield, Dustin Jones, those guys are hoping for a caution.
Looks like Rod Fosner is going to come down pit lane now as he's below the white line onto the apron.
Dustin Jones will get him all out.
Really missed that pin in. The 10 truck's definitely looking at a speeding penalty there. He got into the grass too, had it locked up all 4 tires across the line.
Yeah, pit road speed here is 50 miles an hour, and when he got to the timing line, he was about at 60 something, so good chance that he's probably going to be sitting there for a while.
Dustin Jones stuck on the outside, so he's not going to pit this time. I don't know how many more laps he can make it on. Or he's going to have to come in and get some.
Yeah, Dustin Jones just hoping for a caution at this point.
There's Brent Kincott on the pit road. Yeah, they're basically, I would assume I would have already thought they would have to come in.
Looks like we're going to get at least 1 more lap out of 39.
Wow.
He might be pushing
Marvin
for
Wingfield's
50.
also still up.
Well, this is much further than I thought they could go.
Yeah, Marvin Wingfield in the same boat.
I
Same
believe
with Cody Gatsky.
4 drivers have yet to pit. Dustin Jones, Marvin Wingfield, Cody Gatsky.
Well, a big moment here on the front stretch is the 3 DPR leaders, Springer, Wright, and Holloway. They both ran up on the lap truck of Ronnie Outlaw, and that caused a big-time jam up.
Dustin Jones, Marvin Wingfield totally missing pit road. He's going to hit the grass and spin
Same
it.
with Cody Gatsky.
All 3 of the leaders deciding to pit, all missing or having trouble entering pit lane. That's going to be costly. As
And
we're now
Adam
looking,
Free
as we're
is
now
retired
looking
from the event.
at-
Looks like he might have run out of fuel.
at the battle for the lead, Richard Springer, David Wright, Daniel Holloway. And the 28
But their
Cody
other-
Barber with fresh tires are
Their
he's
other
a lap
teammate.
down.
Yeah, 4 DPR trucks under a blanket here. He's actually Wait for scoring to update here. Yeah, Cody's actually 2 laps down, according to this telemetry.
2 laps down, 21st position.
Will be 1 lap down as he passes Richard Springer down onto the backstretch.
Doug Lockrow in the 37 is in the free pass position, if we get it right now, in 14th position. Well, even though it's been caution-free, that doesn't mean it's been short on action.
You're absolutely right. As the battle for the lead continues on with these 3 drivers, Daniel Holloway going to take second away from David Wright.
Oh, God.
Marvin Wingfield in 19.
Into the inside wall, and looks like he's going to tow back to pit road. Looks like he lost it on the exit of pit road.
And he towed it before a caution could even come out, so we're staying green.
Yeah, that's an area that I thought we might have seen trouble tonight. These trucks are really squirrely getting through the gears in the apron coming off pit road, so I was surprised that I didn't see one already.
And particularly right there on that spot where the banking kind of transitions from flat to a little bit more banking. Well, now we're just down to 11 trucks on the lead lap. Actually worked out better than I thought it would for Dustin Jones, because he's being scored in 11th position. Plus got a lap lead.
And fresher tires.
Yeah, than the leaders.
See what you can do with him. He's also not too far back. He's not absolutely in jeopardy of losing that lap.
Yeah, he's in turn 3 while the leaders are into 3 now, so about 4 or 5 seconds.
And Brett King caught with his right front damage right in front of Dustin Jones. So those guys are both looking pretty okay right now.
Wingfield is back out on track as Adam Purcell is back down onto pit lane. He's been on and off pit lane ever since that early incident between him and the Ford Brent Kincott. As you take a look, Brent Kincott currently under fire from the 39 of Dustin Jones. This would be for the 10th position.
He's blinking a lot. How about the 16 of Hayden Askey running in 7th position? Never really talked about him, but he's kept his truck clean, and after starting 18th, he pitted a little bit earlier than most of the guys, and that's so far played to his benefit.
And he pitted on lap 37, and going off of the mileage that those guys got in the first run, a couple of them running out of fuel, Adam Free running out of fuel, he should be okay. He pitted on lap 30, which gives him about 45 laps, so assuming that those tires hold on for him the whole run, he should be pretty okay with that 7th.
He's got a 5-second gap back to Steven Sims as well, so just ride for a while. Still pretty solid battle up front between Springer, Holloway, and Wright. They've got a 4-second gap back to Jared Rogers in 4th.
And David Lindahl, another guy, pitted on lap 36. He's in 6th place now, started 25th. So this is a big improvement for him, assuming he can keep that going this whole run.
He's off to a terrific start to the season as well, 6th in points. And based on what happened to Dakota Wilkins with his internet problem, Wilkins scored back in 26th, 5 laps down. Good chance we'll probably have a new point leader at the end of the night.
Only 11 drivers on the lead lap up to this point. Several drivers are one lap down. If we have a caution and all those drivers take a waiver on, we'll be back to about 20 drivers on the lead lap.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see before the end of this race how the strategy works out, because we have a few guys in the top 10 who are on the lead lap pretty close to our leaders who pitted around lap 36, 37, so they can make it to the end, but they're going to have 10 to 15 lap older tires than a couple of these other guys.
Jeremy Hebel being scored 3 laps down, actually, in 24th. I know he had that right front damage, but might have had something go wrong on his pit stop. I go back and investigate.
It's going to be
It's like
20
he
laps.
was in and out of the pits several times.
Yeah, looks like he, both on 34 and on 38.
We have 20 laps to go. Richard Springer is your leader. No cautions yet. It's been a great race.
And I think it's fair to say that Hebel will not make it 3 in a row in Atlanta. Springer's definitely stuck to his plan like he talked about when we interviewed him on the grid.
As we take a look back in the field, Dustin Eichert in the 7. He's chasing down the 8 truck of Ted Emmenizer for the 14th position.
Doug Lockrow is still at the lucky dog position right now in 12th. And he's got a pretty comfortable gap to Dominic Mangione, he's in turn 4 right now, and Lockrow's in 1 and 2.
Yeah, Lockrow started 29th, having a phenomenal drive. If Carson can come out, he might be able to get himself a top 10 at the end of the race.
There's a little damage on the right front.
Lockrow is another one of these guys. He pitted later, so I'm interested to see throughout the run, because he's not too far behind these leaders. Maybe he'll be able to unlap himself.
Yeah, right behind 3rd place, David Wright.
He's definitely hanging on with them.
He's just hoping that the leaders don't come up and lap Brent Kincott.
Yeah,
Kincott's about 3 seconds ahead of the leader.
Yeah, 10th place, Brent Kincott. He's down into turn 1. Our leader just crossed the start finish line.
Track temp has dropped dramatically, actually, down to 97 degrees. About the coolest it's been this entire session.
As you see, our 3 leaders are just about a second between one another. Jarrett Rogers currently in that 4th position. And then rounding out the top 5 is the 32 truck of Terrence Nett.
Well, the lead has been chopped down a little bit. About 0.6 of a second that time by. Springer might have had to deal with some lap trucks.
Yeah, and I see David Wright closing on Daniel Holloway pretty well, too. There's only 4 tenths separating those.
Yeah, potential 1-2-3 finish for DPR might be taking place here. Of course, they finished first and second at Auto Club. Springer over Holloway, so I know these guys are going to go for the win the best they can, but they're definitely not going to risk messing each other up at the same time. Springer just about a half lane higher that time than Holloway through 3 and 4. And this time by will be 12 laps to go.
The last thing Richard Springer wants to see is a caution.
Although guys like Dustin Jones, Brent Kincott, Patrick Calgill, Hayden Askey, they're praying for caution right now. Although with the guys at the front, they definitely want this to go green the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, we keep talking about these DPR guys, and the 3 of them are up there. They've got another 5 seconds back to 4th place, another 10 more seconds back to 5th. So even if they do decide to race it out between themselves, which I'm sure they will, they basically have to wreck for them to give this win away to another team. So
Yeah, pretty much.
regardless of what they do to each other, it's pretty much a sure thing for this team to win this race as long as there's no caution.
On board with Richard Springer, you can see the what will be lap traffic of Patrick Calgill right in front of him. 10th place
Oh,
for
into the
Patrick
wall.
Calgill. In the wall, both Jeremy Hebel and Patrick Calgill. Jeremy Hebel already a lap down. He's about to go another. That's not what Patrick Calgill wanted, as he's trying to keep himself on the lead lap. And if Springer's able to get around Calgill, that'll take away Doug Lockrow's lucky dog position.
I'm going to slice between those trucks.
David
This
Wright by Daniel Holloway.
This would put 10 trucks on the lead lap, and
But
And-
again, Doug Lockrow is still sticking right there with 3rd place. He's not fallen off that much, so as many cars as these leaders might lap again, Lockrow might just be able to get by them.
That's what he's going to have to hope to do, get around the 31 of Patrick Calgill if he wants to be that lucky dog position.
Lockrow's doing a great job. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. Just stick right there with the leaders if you can't get by them, and just try to get past as many lap cars as you can to keep yourself in the position.
right, he's not getting up in their way, but at the same time, he's doing what he needs to do at the same time.
The 66 of Dominic Mangione is on pit lane with under 10 laps to go.
He was the next in line behind Doug Lockrow to get the lucky dog. Not sure what this pit stop is for.
And Holloway's dropping off a little bit. He was 6/10 behind Springer. Now he's a second behind him. So, and Daniel Holloway's also gotten by him. So I'm not sure if he's burned his tires off or maybe he's had an issue with the lap car.
Well, he just had
He
to
does
pass
have that
Calgary.
pretty good damage.
Corey Sherman put a second lap down. Brent Kincott next in line. Lead lap truck about to go 1 lap down.
I was expecting a lot more from Corey Sherman tonight, given that he was at Las Vegas, the only other mile and a half. He picked up his first DRL win, but not a very good night tonight.
And Atlanta is a very unique track. It provides a lot of difficulties that don't really show up anywhere else. So there are a lot of guys like Corey Sherman that you might expect to win in other tracks that just don't show up.
And we have 5 laps to go for race leader Richard Springer. David Wright doing all he can to try to chase him down. Less than a second is the gap between the 2 drivers.
Yeah, Holloway is faded back 2 seconds behind, so it looks like it's going to be between Springer and Wright.
And Wright has hopped up about a 10th and a half, so we'll see if he can continue to claw back to that lead.
And they're about even that time. Still around 8.5 tenths of a second. Oh, Springer
Springer's-
almost cut the wall.
David Wright's going to want to see that a couple more times as we're coming to 3 laps to go. Lap truck in front of Springer shouldn't be an issue.
David Wright drops off about a tenth that time.
Lap truck's doing the smart thing and just giving the leaders room. Springer come to get 2 laps to go this time, and as long as he doesn't make a major mistake, he should be on his way to his 2nd win of the season.
No mistake and no caution. If he can take that white flag without a caution, the race will be official.
Certainly got to be impressed with this field. We have had a couple incidents that haven't brought out a caution, but these guys have put on a pretty solid show and pretty clean for the most part. This Wright's just too far back to make one last charge, as here comes Springer to get the white flag.
White flag is out, and I don't have time to do a fact check. I think this might be the first Truck Series race in Dynasty Racing League that went caution free. So great job by all these drivers.
Yeah, it says a lot about a whole field to have 30 trucks come out here and not have a single caution in over 82 laps. It says a lot about Richard Springer that he can come out on top of that through all the green flag laps.
Here he comes, their first repeat winner of the season.
Yep, Richard Springer taking it home, winning his 2nd race. David Wright finishing 2nd, Daniel Holloway 3rd. 4th will go to Jarrett Rogers as he just crosses the line now.
Best battle is for 6th and 7th. Steven Sims looks like he's going to hold off David Lindahl for that position.
Yep, top 5 goes to Steven Sims, David Lindahl right behind him in 6th. A great drive by that 88 truck.
And 9 trucks finished on the lead lap. Brent Kincott, first truck 1 lap down in 10th.
Yeah, how about that by the 16 of Hayden Askey, able to stay on the lead lap and gets himself a nice top 10 finish.
And Dustin Jones playing a bit of a strategy game, maybe able to pull off a top 10 finish too here in 8th place.
I'm not expecting that many, probably not going to see any donuts from Springer. He's old school, as we all know. But here comes Dustin Jones to join him, and we get that DPR 1-2-3 finish. Let's start with our 3rd place finisher, Daniel Holloway. Hey, Daniel Holloway, it's James Ben and Taylor in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, it looked like you're kind of might have ran your tires off a little bit at the end, but still enough to come away with a 3rd place finish, and DPR 1-2-3. That's got to feel pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. You know, again, 2nd, 3rd. I might get that 1st place here soon. But awesome team race there, 1-2-3. And I just want to say, wow, caution free. Nice job, everybody. Especially beginning where I think it was the 29. I got sideways totally, and great save he did. But yeah, what a race tonight.
It absolutely was, and starting from the mid-pack, you definitely had your work cut out for you. Do you think you would have had anything for that 21 truck who was fast all night long if there was a late race caution?
You never know. I think so. I think after 3-4 laps, this truck just sticks and goes. But you never know. We didn't have that chance, but you know, I'll take a top 3. You know, good points race tonight, and move on to the next race.
Absolutely. And Ben Isaiah, do you have anything for Daniel Holloway before we let him go?
You just did a great job managing all your equipment. I saw you fall off a little bit there near the end, but yeah, throughout the race, you just did a great job, so good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Yep, trying to save it, but in traffic, we were talking about it. 15, 20 laps to go, and talked to Springer and Dave, and I said that traffic could make us or break us for one of us.
Did a great job tonight overall. So congratulations on your podium, and we'll see you next week at Homestead.
Yeah, that's another good track for me. So hopefully Springer doesn't win that one.
He is the defending winner, so
Yes, he is.
just take some notes. So have a good night, man. Good job.
Yep, thank you.
And pull in our runner-up finisher, 42 of David Wright. This is the broadcast booth. David, you got a copy, bud?
Yes, I have a copy.
Well, after the last 3 races outside the top 10, come away with a runner-up finish, and tonight the stat sheet will show that you were the slowest truck in practice, but from 12th to 2nd, maybe you showing your hand in practice, or?
Well, anytime in practice, I'm just trying to get a feel for what the truck's going to do usually on a long, feeling like might be a long run kind of race. So I wasn't trying for a fast lap, and I've never been one that can put down a fast lap anyway. So don't always go by practice on what I know I can do. So, but still takes a lot of luck, a little saving the tires.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that about you for the last, going back to the end of last year, that you definitely have improved as far as the long run speed. Were you expecting this race to go caution free?
I watched how the NIS races and some of the A car stuff had gone through last week, and I knew that it had a potential to go caution free with the way the truck is set up here. So
I think we might have lost him. David, you there?
yeah, I was there. I had something else in my ear. Sorry, it kind of threw me off.
That's alrighty, man. Runner-up finish tonight. Going to Homestead next week. What are your thoughts about going to Homestead?
Looking forward to it. I think I run decent there, and I've had speed most of this year, just haven't had any luck. I've gotten caught up in a lot of stuff, so it's nice to get through one and get through it clean, and have a DPR 1-2-3. That's pretty nice to see, and congrats to Springer on his second, and Holloway for coming in on third. So just a good showing overall for all of us tonight.
Came into this race 16th in points, and you're definitely going to make a big jump, possibly into the top 10. But either way, a terrific run tonight. Congrats, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks again.
Lastly,
Definitely a much needed solid run for David Wright tonight. Let's bring in man of the hour, a race winner tonight from the pole. There we go. Hey, Richard Springer, it's the booth again. You got a copy, bud?
Hey, Booth again. What's up?
Well, you basically stuck to your plan pretty well.
Yeah, it's a miracle it worked, huh? No cautions. So I pretty much dropped back quite a bit. Well, I got behind Wilkins. He was doing the same thing. I said, I better get around Wilkins about, 10 or 12 laps in. And then it seemed to work out okay from there. It looks like Purcell got tied up, though, with King Cot. And I saw Purcell spin to the inside. So, oh, man, that was bad. Overall, it worked good. I mean, my teammates were fast. So I was worried about them. I saw them coming up there, and I had to hit the gas a little bit sooner than I thought to on both those runs. But it worked out okay.
It could have been a potential 1, 2, 3, 4 if not for Adam's early misfortune. But definitely a terrific run for DPR tonight. And we go to Homestead next week. You're not too great there, are you?
I'm okay there. So I have to say, though, that David Wright has been really good as far as figuring out these tires. I think he's done the best job, better than I have anyway. So he seems to be pretty good at saving these tires, and he's had some bad luck. So look for him to be in the mix along with Daniel and the rest of the teammates. We got a pretty fast crew.
Yeah, you definitely do. As this is your second win of the season, the first repeat winner of the 2020 Dynasty Racing League Truck Series season. You got any shout outs you want to give out before we let you go celebrate?
Yeah, shout out to you for helping. Was it JP in the booth with you tonight? So
Yep,
you helped
and
out.
Ben Izinga.
Okay. Oh, and Izinga too. Well, thank him for helping out. So I don't have them on the screen, but these guys are beating my car up right now. I can feel it in my steering wheel. Let me get rid of it. So I was going to shout out to Holloway, but I don't think I can do that now. He's killing me here. But yeah,
Well,
anyway,
we'll
shout
have to
out
talk
to the
about
league.
that.
JP especially, he's doing double duty like twice a week, and that's rough. So we appreciate all the work he does. And it's just the usual suspects, a bunch of good guys at racing here. They kept it clean tonight. It was an awesome job. So kudos to all those guys.
Well, given the fact that I was given race control responsibilities as well, I got to give a shout out to this whole field for keeping it green the whole entire time and making me not work quite as hard.
Yeah, right. You had an easy night. Well, you could just concentrate on announcing. So no wrecks to call, no calls to make. Very good. Nobody's mad at you, right?
No, at least not yet. But
Okay.
definitely a great race overall, especially for DPR. 1-2-3 finish. Of course, going back to Auto Club, but a 1-2 finish there. So great start to the season, and see if you guys can keep it up in Homestead next week.
Yeah, we'll give it a best shot again. So yeah, the track is kind of fun. Hopefully, it won't be too tight. These were pretty tight. You did have to take care of the tires, and that was what I did, I think, pretty well. So it worked out good.
Well, congrats once again, and we'll let you go celebrate with your teammates down there.
All right. Thank you, man. I'll catch you later.
Yep. And of course, Homestead Miami Speedway, another track where tire conservation is absolutely critical. So, could be interesting next week, but that's going to do it for tonight. So let's go through the final finishing order.
We have Richard Springer, your race winner, 54 laps led. That's the most tonight. David Wright finishing second. Daniel Holloway third. Jarrett Rogers, 2 laps led, coming home in fourth. Terrence Sinay rounding out the top 5. A great finish for him tonight. Steven Sims, 6th. David Lindahl, 7th. Dustin Jones leading 3 laps. He comes home 8th. 9th goes to Hayden Askey. A great race for him. Brent Kincott leading 11 laps. Finishes 10th. The first driver 1 lap down.
Yeah, definitely a solid run for Brent Kincock tonight. Although he probably would have liked to finish higher. Definitely nice to get a good top 10 finish, lead the race for a while. 11th is Doug Lockrow. 12th, Patrick Cowgill. 13th, Dustin Eichert. 14th, Ted Immenheiser. Rod Fosnall in 15th. Cody Barber 16th. The first car 2 laps down. Followed by Corey Sherman, Cody Gatsky, Ronnie Outlaw, and Jared Gordon, the rest of the top 20.
21st goes to Robbie Armstrong, 4 laps down. Jeremy Hebel, 22nd. Not the night Jeremy Hebel wanted, as he was looking to three-peat. Sorry about that. Dominic Mangione finishes 23rd. William Wingfield, 24th. Marvin Wingfield, 25th. Dakota Wilkins, 5 laps down. He comes home 26th. 27th goes to Austin Collins, got caught up in a late race incident, 16 laps down. Adam Purcell, who was in the lead at the time of his incident, leading 8 laps, he finishes 28th, 39 laps down. Adam Free, 29th, 41 laps down. 30th goes to Adam Breeden, 61 laps down.
And of course, with Wilkins finishing down in 26th after his internet connection problem, point standings are going to shake up once again.
They absolutely will. Going to the next race for Dynasty Racing League, that'll be the Homestead Miami 175 for the Dynasty Racing League Grand National Series, Monday, March 23rd at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for 117 laps. Be sure to tune in for that one. And the next race in the Dynasty Racing League Truck Series will be, again, at Homestead, Miami, for the Miami 150. That is 100 laps at that 1.5 mile track, Tuesday, March 24th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Big shout out to everybody that makes Dynasty Racing League possible. Thank you to James Pandoff. Thank you to Martin Wenzel and Jordan Gonzalez for the graphics and technical support. Thank you to the broadcasters, David Warborn Jr., James Pandoff, and thank you to all the special guests we've had. Thank you, Ben Izenga and Taylor Bush Benjamin, for joining me tonight. Pleasure having you. Thank you to the race controllers, James Bandoff, Dakota Workins, Jeremy Hebel. Thank you, Taylor, for doing it tonight for the Truck Series. Thank you to Mike Springer, who's also done some Truck Series race controlling the last few races. Thank you to all the admins, James Bandoff, Gaddy Buckner, Martin Wenzel, and David Wellborn Jr. Well, guys, I think that'll just about do it tonight for the Dynasty Racing League Truck Series Atlanta 125. What are your final thoughts about tonight's race?
I'm just really excited that they went green that whole time. I'm really excited to see how these DPR guys run through the rest of the year. They had a really, really strong showing tonight, even the guys who didn't quite make the top 3 finish that they had. But yeah, like we saw Adam Purcell having a really strong run in qualifying, having a really strong run at the start of this race before he had some connection issues, some trouble. But yeah, I'm just really excited to see how that team is able to run the rest of the year, seeing their showing tonight and seeing how strong they've been in the past individually.
Yeah, it was great to see a caution-free race. Of course, this is getting to that point of the season where we're going to really see where these drivers are as far as their confidence level, as well as how the rest of their season will go. Of course, this is a 1.5-mile track, and we got 2 more coming up, Homestead and the newly repaved Texas that was rescanned in the last build. So that'll be another exciting race as well coming up.
Absolutely.
Oh, I forgot about that.
A lot of unknowns for Texas, that's for sure. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch both the Grand National Series and Truck Series compete on that track. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in tonight on DRL TV. We'll see you next week for some Homestead Miami racing. Have a great night.